Let's talk about disc height. While there are 18 different types of shots you can choose from, they all use the same height mechanics. It doesn't matter where you're standing when you throw, the very first space off of when you throw is low enough to hit tree trunks, but low enough to avoid tree branches. Now the rest of the flight, it is high enough to hit tree trunks, or high enough to hit tree branches, but low enough to miss tree trunks. Now near the end of its flight, that's the third to last and second to last spaces of its flight, it is now again low enough to hit tree trunks and also low enough to miss tree branches. That's really important, and I'll show you why. In a shot scenario like this, you are low enough to hit that trunk, because that is the third or second to last part of your flight. However, if we were one further up and we were at a higher point of our flight, this is high enough that it misses the tree trunk, but now this is low enough that it misses this tree branch. And unfortunately, it is also, you'll see that that space is stacked with more than one tree, so you'd still be rolling to see if you hit that tree trunk. For grass, you'll see your disc can be caught up in tall grass if it's over tall grass one before the end of its flight. Let's cover that as an example. So if we were throwing from here and we passed over tall grass, we wouldn't make it to that very end of our flight path. We get caught up right here and our disc would land in the tall grass. There's no penalty for throwing out of tall grass. Now the bushes can stop you one before the end of your flight path or two before the end of your flight path. So if we were throwing from here for some reason, the third or second to last space, if we were over bushes, stops your disc short and you just land in the bushes. Rocks have different sizes. You'll see that we have small rocks, we have medium-sized rocks, and we have these big rocks that take up two spaces. So for small rocks, it does not matter where in the flight. If you're passing over small rocks at all, it's very simple. Roll a d6. You'll get a ricochet if you hit a roll of 1 or 2 because you were too low. Otherwise, it just passes over. Medium rocks, on the other hand, you're going to need to roll that 5 or 6 to pass over them. Otherwise, you're going to have a ricochet. And large rocks, well, you are allowed to pass behind the backs of them, like the top of them. So that shot, for example, passes behind the top of that rock. Think of it as a 3D experience where you've just carved around the back edge of it. However, if you were to hit the base of any rock, any large rock, you're just going to bounce back exactly the direction you came from and land. That covers disc height mechanics and the relationship with height as it relates to grass, bushes, tree trunks, and tree branches. And large rocks, I guess. If you have any questions at all, by all means, hit me up. You can reach out to me on the website at dgbg.ca, and I will always have clarifying videos on certain situations.